Each July in Brooklyn, New York, a year's work ends so that a 2-week religious festival may begin. The hard-working people of a neighborhood called Greenpoint take this time to give thanks to God and to each other. Nothing more readily symbolizes the feast than a sculpted tower called the Giglio. At the height of the celebration, men from the community carry the Giglio on their shoulders through the streets.
I wish everybody knows about this feast to become more popular, because it's a very characteristic feast. It's not a feast like this all over the United States. Yeah. It's the only one. There are other feasts, traditional feasts like the downtown 18th Street, pretty good, different, but no one like this one. Yeah. It's the best one. Yeah. Believe me, not because I'm the Spanish, but because it's very characteristic. It's unique. It's not a feast like this. Yeah.
Lifting the Giglio is a complex maneuver. A lift leader, called the capodei is chosen each year. He alone orders each lift and guides the march to make sure every safeguard is taken for the enormous crowds that line the route.
Capoparanza means in Italian head of the men. And that's what your job is. You're ahead of all those people out there. The day we carry the Giglio, the boat structures at once. It's your job to see that everyone is doing their job safely, as a gentleman and as a good Catholic.
200 men, 9,000 pounds, 85 feet tall. The Giglio has come to symbolize the pride and devotion these people have for their parish church. The feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel celebrates the legend of Saint Paulinus. Paulinus is the patron saint of Nola, a city near Naples in Italy, where many people in Greenpoint trace their family roots. In the 4th century, Paulinus offered himself to the Moors in Africa in exchange for freeing a Nola boy held in their captivity. Paulinus was imprisoned for many years, but when he returned to Nola aboard a Moorish ship, the people of his hometown showered him with lilies. Giglio in Italian means lily. The Giglio is topped by a statue of Saint Paulinus, and its sides are festooned with sculpted lilies. The feast recalls the joy of Paulinus's return and also the extent of his sacrifice.
It's like a tradition, 94 years this has been going on. Hopefully it'll go on for another 94 years. It's something they brought over 100 years, almost 100 years ago, that they wanted to give thanks to different saints, St. Paulino, and it just kept going. Some things, transcend modernization. Some things, transcend time, and I guess this is one of them. And it just, happens that it's continuous, whether it's one generation or another generation or another, just something that's handed on. It's American and it's Italian, and it's something, to look, to the old country, but it's a modernization in the new country.
The religious importance of the feast was increased in 1982 by a visit from the Vatican. At Kennedy Airport, a delegation of community and church leaders eagerly awaited the arrival of Pope John Paul II's papal nuncio. Mario Luigi Cardinal Chiappi arrived from Rome to celebrate religious services at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Shrine Church. On hand to greet him were the Reverend Alphonse Sarnelli, pastor of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, the Reverend Francis Vivona, coordinator of the feast, Joseph Matarese, Grand Marshal, and other dignitaries. Befitting his diplomatic station as an official of a foreign country and as a leader of the worldwide Catholic Church, Cardinal Chiappi was given an escort from the airport to Mount Carmel, where he would be a special guest during his stay in Brooklyn. The people of Greenpoint, and from all parts of Brooklyn, came to Mount Carmel to welcome their special visitor. Cardinal Chiappi is Pope John Paul's personal theologian and the third highest prelate at the Vatican. He is chairman of the special committee that studies records and evidence about extraordinary Catholics recommended to the Pope to become saints of the Church.
Cardinal Chiappi is an extremely humble, unpretentious type of individual. And I believe he had no idea or no conception what type of reception or what type of an event we had in store for him. And it seems that my only involvement in the beginning was just having a small little intimate luncheon for him at the Columbus Citizens Committee, of which I am a member. I'm really honored as being the first Grand Marshal, and I'm really honored that Cardinal Chiappi has visited our great neighborhood and made this feast, the 94th year, the best ever.
Of the Cardinals of the poor order, because the Cardinal, the Dominican, or the mendicant order, and I am confused.
Just got to, other things just seemed to fall in. The meeting with the mayor, His Eminence wishing to visit the Statue of Liberty, the Verrazano Bridge, to see the burial place of Mother Seton. So I guess one event evolved into another, and everything was a highlight. I think even when we took him out on the ferry boat and he saw the fire boats giving him a salute, he said in Italian, for me, he was astounded or was unaware of, unexpecting these type of events would take place.
That is just a wonderful honor, really, for us as a parish to have, really to have any cardinal, but in particular when you have the number 3 man in the whole church to be with you is really, what else could you have? There's only Casseroli and the Pope. What we did was, since the changes with Vatican II, when the altar was turned around to face the people, we had a portable altar. And the times have changed where it is time now to put the altar in its place properly, secured to the floor, which is part of what canon law states. So we moved the main altar up to the front, took away the portable, and once an altar has to be moved, when it is moved, it must be reconsecrated. And as it would be this year, the cardinal is here, so he was asked to reconsecrate it, and with the permission of Bishop Magavero, it is going to be done at midnight mass on the 15th.
Your Eminence, Mario Luigi Cardinale Chiappi, distinguished members of the diplomatic corps, Reverend Fathers, parishioners, and friends. We are most happy this evening to be able to gather together in this shrine church dedicated to Our Lady of Mount Carmel for the consecration of the altar. And for this memorable event, we'd like to read to you the special telegram that has just been received from His Holiness, Pope John Paul II. On the occasion of the consecration of the main altar of the Shrine Church of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Brooklyn, our Holy Father invokes joy and peace in Christ, our Savior, upon the entire parochial community, and cordially imparts His apostolic blessing to all.
The same altar, consecrated by Cardinal Chiappi, was the original placed in Our Lady of Mount Carmel's first wooden building nearly 100 years ago. In 1936, another cardinal named Pacelli also visited the church and said Mass on the altar. He later became Pope Pius XII. Inside the marble altar, Cardinal Ciappi has placed the relics of a saint. This holy ritual thus designates Our Lady of Mount Carmel as a shrine church.
For 94 years, the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel has been a uniquely festive and significant tradition. This year, we are very honored to welcome Mario Luigi Cardinal Ciappi, whose consecration of the altar adds a special note to this important day of celebration and thanksgiving. Brooklyn takes great pride in the long history and proud tradition this festival embodies. It is truly a symbol of faith and continuity for the people of this community. And we all owe deep gratitude to Our Lady of Mount Carmel for fostering one of our borough's most revered and meaningful traditions.
The highlight of the feast is Giglio Sunday. On that day, a replica of the Moorish ship that carried St. Paulinus back home to Nola will be carried by church members down the street to meet the Giglio. The streets of Greenpoint are filled with people from all over the New York City area. People come to the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel to express their devotion to God, and also to have a good time with friends, to enjoy the color, the music, to eat delicious Italian foods, and to be a part of the festivities. Before the Giglio is lifted, the capo gives orders to his assistants and to others at key points who are responsible for safety and guiding the huge statue through the crowds.
Tell you, that morning, for as many times as you've done it, made a lift, or you know what's got to be done. There's butterflies. It's like coming out of a plane, maybe, or a first airplane ride. I tell you, Sunday morning, I paced the house for a half hour. My mother says, you didn't pace that much when your son was born. You know, it's just a nervous thing. You have to remember, there's 1,000 eyes on you. And all these little things, a mistake, or maybe they won't see it, but I'll know about it. I'd have to walk away and be very embarrassed. And I wouldn't want that for myself, my family, or the church.
The levels of command are as strict as any armies. The men of the Giglio begin as teenagers, learning the medieval art of shaping papier-mâché symbols on the tower. Young men are honored to be among those who will strain their muscles during the lifts. A few then slowly move up to be cornermen and assistants to the one man who is capo. The capo's most important job, however, begins weeks before Giglio Sunday. In quiet reflection, he plans or choreographs each lift. There will be 72 lifts in all during the Giglio March through the parish streets. Each lift is a call to God and to the people looking on. For example, the capo might instruct the Giglio to be raised and tilted from side to side. That movement would be a challenge to the crowd. Is your faith swaying between God and materialism? Eyes now turn to the future of the religious tradition, the parade of the children's Giglio.
As kids, we used to take maybe 4 or 5 milk boxes, nail them together, put 2 pieces of wood along the side, get out the kazoos, play the Giglio song, and lift the Giglio. This wasn't only in July. Could have been March, could have been December. Made no difference. The feast was in our blood. We were born into it, and that's the way it is. You know, and it's continued in us, as you can see. You know.
But it's something you can't force on your children. If they want to do it, great. You can help push, but it's like anything else. You can't make somebody become a doctor if he wants to be a truck driver.
But they'll wait patiently for opening night of the feast. And they'll wait, and when their Gill comes out, We tell them to be here for maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock. 5:30, there's 50 kids sitting in front of the church. Is it time? Is it time? How about go get the jail big in the front of the church? Just that they're participating is an accomplishment. They're all involved. Because this is going to be your feast. You can forget about guys like myself, or anybody in that age, that area, anybody over 25, you can forget about them. It's these little children that's going to be the feast to come. The future feast, let's put it that way. And I'm a firm believer in it. I had a friend of mine make a statement one year. He says, never mind them 200 guys in the back. He says, they're over the hill. He says, these 125 kids in the front are what we need. I was one of the kids in the front. Will always be a feast. As long as these little kids stay involved, there'll always be a feast. Giglio is only a structure. You can carry a holy picture and it would almost do the same thing. It's not 85 feet tall, but it will serve the same purpose. It's your love for God. It's your tradition. It's your heritage. You must remember, this is a religious feast. I've heard it called carnival. I've heard it called menagerie and everything else, and phone calls were made, letters were sent out. This is a religious festival. The theme is San Pauline, Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
Some things, transcend modernization. Some things, transcend time, and I guess this is one of them.